Oh, I did. I was looking for the. No, that's okay. I got some stuff there. I'll show it to you. You got $150 assessment to it.
This.
Okay, Brian. All right, thank you, Brian, and welcome everyone to this June 10th meeting of the Homewood City Council. We start tonight with a proclamation for the Lakeshore Lakers, so I'll turn it over to the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I can have the Lakeshore Laker champions come up front. That's perfect. And I will read this proclamation out to you guys, and then again, as we talked about earlier, if you want to say a few words, feel free. I know there's also another presentation you'd like to give as well. So, yes. Whereas the city of Homewood, Alabama wishes to honor and recognize the Lakeshore Foundation Lakers as recipients of the 2024 NWBA, which is the National Wheelchair Basketball Association Varsity Junior National Championships. And whereas the Lakeshore Foundation Lakers are back-to-back champions with wins in 2023 and 24. Savannah Gardner, the head coach, was also named the 2024 NWBA Coach of the Year. And whereas the Lakeshore Foundation Laker Jackson Horn was named the MVP and made first team all-tournament with Jian Jackson and Jacarius Kemp named female and male tournament MVPs. And whereas the Lakeshore Foundation is a local nonprofit that provides individuals with disabilities a chance to live a healthy lifestyle through recreation, research, advocacy, and healthy promotions. And whereas the mayor and the city council would like to recognize those individuals that spread a positive message and shine a spotlight on beneficial influence in our city through their hard work and sacrifice. Now, therefore, I, Patrick McCluskey, Mayor of the City of Homewood, Alabama, do hereby congratulate the Lakeshore Foundation Lakers coach and team for 2 outstanding seasons and wish them many more in the future. So congratulations, guys. Absolutely. Yeah. Get a picture?
Do we need to move?
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, hold on. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Good.
We got something that came in, and so we wanted to go ahead and unveil this.
Oh, wow.
This will hang proudly in the Lakeshore Gym.
Oh, that's great.
Last year, congratulations, guys.
Coach, would you like to say a few words?
I just wanted to say thank you to all of you guys and for the opportunity to be here. This is a really, really special moment in Lakeshore's history and in my history as well, and I'm just so proud of these guys. It's nothing that Sean or I have done. It's a very great honor to be their coach, and I talk a lot, and you can say a lot of words throughout a season, but if you don't have the athletes that can follow the direction and execute with what you're telling them, then it's just a lot of hot air. And so they make us look really, really good. And I'm very proud of them, and they deserve all the recognition.
Awesome. Well, thank you, guys. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. All right. So with that, I will go ahead and call the meeting to order. We're going to start tonight with an invocation from Counselor Smith, and that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone will please stand.
If you'll bow your heads and pray with me. Gracious God, as we come today to discuss important matters, we ask for your guidance and your wisdom. You are the source of all knowledge and understanding. Therefore, we seek your direction in our decision-making. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight." Help us to listen attentively to one another with open hearts and open minds. May we be not quick to judge or criticize, but instead seek to understand different perspectives. We pray that you will give us the discernment to make the best decisions for the greater good. We trust that you will guide us on this path and lead us to reach a consensus that reflects your will. May your words and actions be guided by your love, and may our words and actions be guided by your love and grace. In your mighty and matchless name we pray. Amen. Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, Counselor Smith. And Mr. Sechrist, if you will please call roll.
Yes, sir. Counselor Waltney.
Here.
Here. Alamon. Here. Wolverton. Sims.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Nelms.
Here.
Andrus.
Here.
Harden.
Here.
President White.
Here. And actually, I think Mr. Wolverton just walked in. So that will give us 10 tonight. All right. Next, we have the reading of the minutes from our council meeting of May 20, 2024. Those have previously been distributed. I'd entertain a motion and a second to dispense with the reading of those minutes and for approval of the same.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Those are approved 10-0. Next, we have board vacancies. First, we have an at-large HEC appointment, and I believe that we had one applicant that, well, I think that the appointment is Nancy Womack. Is that correct? Okay. So would that be your motion to appoint her? Okay. So we have a motion from Mr. Wolverton. We have a second.
Second.
Second from Ms. Andrus. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is 10-0. Congratulations to Ms. Womack. And then, Ms. Smith, you need a historic preservation spot?
Yes, I need to open up one of the at-large spots on the Homewood Historic Preservation Commission, Rachel Mobley's spot. She is leaving her spot early, and I would like to keep that open until July the 9th.
All right, so then we'll close that at 4:30 on July the 9th. Excuse me. There are no additions to the agenda tonight, so I would entertain a motion and a second for approval of the published agenda.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alamon, second by Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 10-0 as well, which brings us to the consent agenda. I'd entertain a motion and a second for approval of that agenda.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Nelms, second by Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is also approved 10-0, which brings us to old business. First item, 070524, request to upgrade PC Network Tech position to Network Systems Administrator. This is brought to us by Brandon Sims of our IT department. And we'll start with a report from Finance. Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I'm going to yield to Mrs. Smith, who chaired the meeting, so that's okay.
So the committee met last week and heard from Mr. Sims. He is needing some assistance in the IT department. So we voted 4-0 to recommend approving upgrading the PC Network Tech position to a Network Systems Administrator. Motion was made by Mr. Alamon and seconded by Andy Gwaltney, and I believe it was, 4-0 vote.
All right, so we have a motion from Finance. Any questions or comments?
Do you know how long that's going to take to fill that?
He said he had not even looked to see if there was a list because he just wanted to make sure he could get the approval first.
Okay.
So,
It'll take a little while.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is 10-0, and will be Resolution 2472. Next item, 080524, request for consideration of budget amendments for fiscal year 23-24. Comes for Public Works transfer to street materials and supplies and parks transfer to travel and conferences, brought to us by Berkeley Squires. And another report from Finance, Ms. Smith.
Yes, the committee heard from Mr. Squires. He has some new employees in the Parks Department that were going to need to be attending some conferences to get some certifications, and we voted 4-0 to recommend approving those transfers. The motion was made by Mr. Gwaltney and seconded by Mr. Alamon. It was a 4-0 vote. And just part of the transfer was we're still paying dump fees because we're still dumping things left from the tornado in December.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so we have another motion from Finance. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 10-0, and will be Resolution 2473. Next item, 090524, request for permission to adopt the Division G Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan and have the mayor sign a validation agreement, brought to us by Chief Broadhead and Cale Smith. And another report from Finance, Ms. Smith.
Yes, we heard from Cale Smith. This is something that we sort of have to do, and actually we're, I think, a little late in doing it. So committee voted 4-0 to recommend approving the agreement and having the mayor sign that. Motion was made by Mr. Harden and seconded by Mr. Gwaltney, 4-0.
All right, so we have another motion from Finance. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved 10-0, and will be Resolution 2474. Next item, 100524, request for the mayor to sign an agreement with the city of Mountain Brook for fire equipment. This is also brought to us by Chief Broadhead. And we'll start with a report from Public Safety. Mr. Gwaltney.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. After hearing from Battalion Chief Glover, the committee voted 3-0 to recommend approval. The motion was made by Councilor Harden, seconded by Councilor Nelms.
All right, so we have a motion from Public Safety. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is also 10-0, and will be Resolution 2475. Next item, 110524, request for the mayor to sign an agreement with Regional Training Institute for clinical rotations with the Homewood Fire Department. This is also brought to us by Chief Broadhead. And another report from Public Safety, Mr. Gwaltney.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. After hearing from Battalion Chief Glover again, the committee voted 3-0 to recommend approval. The motion was made by Counselor Harden and seconded by Counselor Nelms.
All right, so we have another motion from Public Safety. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is also 10-0 and will be Resolution 2476. Next item, 120524, request for consideration to expand the entertainment district in West Homewood. This is brought to us by Counselor Alamon. And we'll start with another report from Public Safety. Mr. Gwaltney.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. After hearing from Counselor Alamon, the committee voted 3-0 to recommend approval. The motion was made by Counselor Nelms and seconded by Counselor Harden.
All right. Mr. Kendrick, if you will give us a first reading, please.
Yes, there's an ordinance to amend Section 3-47 titled West Homewood Entertainment District Establishment to Chapter 3 entitled Alcoholic Beverages of Article 3 entitled Entertainment Districts of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Homewood. Be it ordained as follows. The Section 3.47 entitled West Homewood Entertainment District is amended to read as follows. The district is hereby established by the adoption of this ordinance with boundaries set forth as follows. The area on along Oak Grove Road, Oxmoor Road and Oak Grove Road as displayed in Exhibit A. Section 2, that if any part of provision of the ordinance declared to be unconstitutional, all other parts remain in full force and effect. Section 3, legal rights not impaired. Nothing in this ordinance or the code hereby adopted shall be construed to affect any suit or pending litigation. Section 4, publication of the ordinance. The city clerk shall publish the ordinance as required by law. Section 4, the effective date of the ordinance shall, and the rules and regulations and provisions relating thereto shall be effective immediately upon the adoption by the city council.
All right, thank you. I'd entertain a motion and a second for unanimous consent.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harden, second by Mr. Gwaltney. And a roll call vote, please, Mr. Segrist.
Yes, sir. Counselor Gwaltney?
Yes.
Alamon?
Yes.
Wolverton?
Yes.
Sims?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Nelms?
Yes.
Andrus?
Yes.
Harden?
Yes.
President White?
Yes. All right, so now I'd entertain a motion and a second for approval.
So moved.
We got a motion from Mr. Alamon, a second from Mr. Wolverton. And another roll call vote, please, Mr. Segrist.
Counselor Gwaltney?
Yes, sir.
Alamon?
Yes.
Wolverton?
Yes.
Sims?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Nelms?
Yes.
Andrus?
Yes.
Harden?
Yes.
President White?
Yes. All right, so that passes 10-0 and will be ordinance 2902. Next item, 130524, request to authorize an ordinance to prevent non-authorized vehicles, motorcycles, golf carts, et cetera, on the Greenway Phase 1 and 2 trails. This is brought to us by Counselor Jones, and we'll start with a report from Public Safety. Mr. Gwaltney.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The committee met and voted 3-0 to recommend approval of this ordinance to prevent non-authorized motor vehicles on the trail. The motion was made by Counselor Nelms, seconded by Counselor Harden. And just one point for clarification, to ensure that we are aligning with the request of the agenda item, the ordinance that we were discussing, Mr. Koenig will be reading, would be the one to prohibit non-motorized vehicles on the green trail, right?
Prohibit motorized vehicles.
Motorized. Sorry. Motorized. I had non-motorized here in the notes. So. Non-authorized. So just make sure we have that clarification that it's
Yeah.
just the trail.
Correct. All right, Mr. Kendrick, if you will give us a first reading of this ordinance.
Yes, there's an ordinance to prohibit all motorized vehicles or devices from the green trail located in the city of Homewood, which limitations include, but are not limited to motorized scooters, skateboards, golf carts, motorcycle, or other motorized vehicles, other motorized devices, except for those devices used in the transport of handicapped or disabled persons or for official use by employees of the city of Homewood. Be it ordained as follows, that the use of motorized vehicles or devices on the green trail located in the city of Homewood shall be prohibited, which limitation is to include but not be limited to motorized scooters, skateboards, golf carts, motorcycles, otherwise motorized devices, except those motorized devices or equipment used by employees of the city shall be exempted from this prohibition. Section 2, the violation of this ordinance shall constitute a misdemeanor Any person found guilty violating such ordinance shall be punished as provided by Section 1-8 of the Code of Ordinances. Section 3, the chief of police shall erect or cause to be erect signs along the green trail located in the city of Homewood. Section 4, that the ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its adoption by the city council, approved by the mayor, as otherwise becoming law.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kendrick. Now entertain a motion and a second for unanimous consent.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Nelms. And a roll call vote, please, Mr. Sechrist.
Yes, sir. Counselor Gwaltney?
Yes, sir.
Allamon?
Yes.
Wolverton?
Yes.
Sims?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Nelms?
Yes.
Andrus?
Yes.
Harden?
Yes.
President White?
Yes. All right, so that's 10-0. And now entertain a motion and a second for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Nelms. And another roll call vote, please, Mr. Sechrist.
I have one
sorry,
question.
yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
When Mr. Kendrick was reading this, it just made me, you're referencing the penalties for the offender, and you said that is, could you define what the penalty is? It's not a fine, is that correct? It's more.
No, well, it can be a fine. You can, there's a section in the Code of Ordinances, Section 1-8, that provides for the punishment for all misdemeanors in the city, which is the same that it is in every city in the state of in the country.
Okay, so it's a misdemeanor for an offense.
The city courts only have jurisdiction over misdemeanors.
Okay, all right, thanks.
All right.
And one of my questions is, if you have a bicycle with electric, that can do both electric and
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
is
that is not included in
okay,
this.
I didn't think so,
as a
reading.
motorized
I
vehicle.
read it and it said motorized and, okay, good.
Correct. Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor? Or, I'm sorry, excuse me, Mr. Sechrist, can you do a roll call vote?
Yes. Counselor Gwaltney?
Yes, sir.
Allamon?
Yes.
Wolverton?
Yes.
Sims?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Nelms?
Yes.
Andrus?
Yes.
Harden?
Yes.
President White?
Yes, all right, so that passes and will be ordinance 2903. Next item, 150524, request for consideration of a sign variance at 817 Green Springs Highway, The Edge, brought to us by The Edge, Candace Watson and Wyatt Pugh. And we'll start with the report from Special Issues, Ms. Smith.
Yes, the committee met last week and heard from Don Halls and Mr. Pugh, and the committee voted 5-0 to set the public hearing for this request for June 24th at 6 p.m. and refer the item out to the full council without recommendation pending that public hearing. The motion was made by Mr. Allamon and seconded by Ms. Andrus.
All right, so we will set that public hearing for June 24th at 6 p.m. Next item, 160524, request for consideration of a sign variance at 190 Vulcan Road, brought to us by Birmingham Luxury Motors, Alan Cobb of Alabama Signorama, and Wyatt Pugh, and another report from Special Issues, Ms. Smith.
Yes, same thing. We heard from Chris Wayne and Mr. Pugh, and committee voted 5-0 to set the public hearing for this request for June 24th at 6 p.m. and refer the item out to the full council without recommendation pending that public hearing. The motion was made by Mr. Allamon and seconded by Ms. Andrus again.
All right, so we'll set that public hearing also for the 24th at 6 p.m. That brings us to the committee referral agenda. I would entertain a motion and a second for approval of that agenda.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Gwaltney, second from Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 10-0. Which brings us to other new business, 040624, request to set a public hearing for consideration to rezone 2917 Linden Avenue from C1 to C4A. The applicant is Virginia Allen to facilitate its redevelopment for appropriate retail uses. This comes to us from the Planning Commission with a 5-0 favorable recommendation. So we will set that public hearing. Mr. Kendrick, we need to set that
July
for
8th is the first time we have it.
July 8th, for
Yes.
July 8th at 6 p.m. All right, next item, 050624, request for consideration of approval of vouchers for the period of May 21, 2024 through June 10, 2024, brought to us by J.J. Bischoff, and I saw Mr.
Counselor
Allamon back there looking at them.
Yes, I'd like to approve the vouchers, except we're going to withhold the Amwaste vouchers. We worked through some things there, but otherwise, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
All right, so we have a
Second.
motion from Mr. Allamon,
Second.
second from Mr. Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 10-0. That brings us to the end of our agenda tonight. Mr. Mayor, you have any announcements?
Just a few things, reminders. One, this Saturday, June 15th, for those of you who are not aware, Birmingham Budweiser and the Folds of Honor will be presenting the Clydesdale horses here in Homewood. Starting at 2 o'clock, there will be a path, like a parade, that will cover a lot of the downtown area, including Reese Street and Oxmoor Road, and then, of course, 18th Street. And then the Clydesdales will actually be on display at City Hall from 3 until 5. So for those of you who have not ever seen the Clydesdales in person, I saw them several years ago out in Hoover at the Galleria. They are very impressive animals. So it's really cool to have them come through the city. So we're excited about that. We are just a few weeks away, of course, from all the 4th of July festivities in downtown Homewood. And then just a reminder that on the 27th of next month is the Homewood Downtown Sidewalk Sale. So, but that's it.
Thank you very much. One real quick thing, Ms. Smith, I think you said July 9th, that you wanted the historic preservation to close on July 9th, and shame on me for not looking at the calendar. You meant July 8th, correct? No, that's okay. So it'll be July 8th at 4:30. Okay, no problem. All right, Mr. Gwaltney.
I have no comments this evening, and I do not need to set public safety.
Okay. Mr. Alaman.
I just wanted to wish Andrew Wilberton happy birthday. We missed the last meeting. We get to wish him a happy birthday, and that's about it. I have no other comments.
All right, thank you. Mr. Wolverton.
Apparently.
That's what I'm told.
Youngster, kiddo. Yeah, exactly.
That's what my kids have been telling me all year, so.
Call me when you hit a real big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
I'm fully aware.
To be 40 again.
I'm a little bruised from the party the other night, so. And I actually celebrated a friend's birthday party last week in Seattle, so that's why I was gone from committees. But apparently when you're 40, you can still go ride bikes 50 miles and play paintball right afterwards in the rain. So, you know, it was all good. Yeah. So, I've got one agenda item is all I saw. So just setting committee for, I guess, after finance. And then other than that, we obviously we had hopes of having Street Fest. It got rained out, so every once in a while those things happen. But wanted to thank those that are involved in getting those things set up, and obviously we've got another opportunity with the Back to School Dash in the fall. Other than that, there was another race in the neighborhood Saturday I didn't even know about. So just goes to show that Homewood is very popular for all sorts of races, and I believe this one was after I heard about it was for it was an Eskridge and White memorial run. So, but yeah, it was right in and around Patriot Park. What's that?
Farmers Market, when does that start?
Oh yes, and the Farmers Market started last week. So every Tuesday night from here through the first week of August, Farmers Market's going. But thank you guys for your support with expanding the entertainment district. I know it makes a lot of sense as the development is speeding along, and so we'll just have everything lined up and ready to go. I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Sims.
Thanks. I just wanted to thank you, President Wyatt, for your participation in the city manager forum last Tuesday, as well as appreciation to Sam Gaston, city manager of Mountain Brook, who presented. His presentation is actually online if anyone missed the forum and wants to check that out. Also, thanks to Councilors Andrus and Gear and Mayor McCluskey for their attendance and participation. There will be another forum this Friday at City Hall on the second floor. It's actually going to start at 11 a.m. and then the presentations will start at 11:30. The presentations will start with Gretchen DeFonte, who's the city manager at Pelham, and then that will be followed by President Wyatt, who's going to overview Homewood's consideration of the city manager structure. And then we'll have some questions like last time and try to wrap up by 12:30 so everybody can get back to work. But just wanted to reference that, invite everybody to join who's still looking for more information about the city manager consideration as we progress that conversation, because last time it was really a great event. It went a little long, but I think it was good conversation. So thanks to everybody who came out, and please spread the word about Friday.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jones?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Finance Committee will meet at 5, and I want to thank you for your, I know you've done so many presentations on the city manager, and it's almost like we should just take a recording of the first one you did, and you know, you really having to go out and do that. But I appreciate the one at the chamber was very succinct and, very helpful. So thank you for that. And then also thank you. I was out last week, and I appreciate being able to read what I wanted, and you got exactly what I was, the spirit of what I was looking for. So I'm sorry I didn't participate, but I had all the faith in it. The ordinance was exactly as I was looking for. So thank you for all your work. I feel like we're really working in the same direction and on the same page, and I appreciate everyone's participation with that. And I don't have anything else.
Thank you. Ms. Smith?
I don't need to set special issues, yay. And I have a couple of other things. So the Historic Preservation Commission meets tomorrow night here at City Hall at 7 p.m. Up on the 4th floor. And we have had, one of our members has come up with some really great ideas for things going forward that we're going to be discussing, including some centennial possible planning. So looking forward to that. We have, the Chamber is holding a downtown merchants meeting here in Chambers on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. So if any other counselors, I think Jennifer and I are planning on being here. But if anybody else is free at 9 a.m. on Wednesday and can be here, I think Shay would love that. And we have, as of tonight, we have 439 signatures for the city manager position. I think we're kind of getting to the point now we really need all hands on deck. So if those of you can grab a few signatures in your neighborhood or from friends or wherever, that would be awesome. I'm kind of become weird about counting them, so I know exactly how many we have. So, I think Andy mentioned that he had some that he could bring in. So just be on the lookout. Jen and I have kind of been just keeping petition sheets with us wherever we go, and we just sort of accost people whenever we see them. So, so just, that's what we're looking for. I think we need about 550 approved signatures. So having some extras is not a bad thing. Just keep that in mind as you're out and about in Homewood. And I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Nelms?
I don't have anything tonight, but I am getting signatures, and we'll have hopefully a bunch more next week.
Thank you very much. Ms. Andrus?
I do need to set P&D, so I will do that to follow Public Works. And I wanted to thank the fire department for having me and my son John on Memorial Day for the Murph workout, which we do in honor and memory of Navy SEAL Lieutenant Michael Murphy. And we had a great time. And anyway, anybody can join us. I modify. I do not do right. Like, I do ring pull-ups. I don't wear a vest, and I do incline push-ups. So I totally modify. So anybody can join us next year. Although I will say that I'm committing to starting off with the vest on next year. So I will say that. But my college athlete, 21-year-old son could only get through half the workout. And he was wearing the vest, I will say that, and doing full pull-ups and push-ups. But so anyway, it was the range, but the guys had been out. We had storms that morning, and so the guys had been in Mountain Brook, and so they just really, just absolutely, the heroes in our fire department. And but they started trickling in, and we had a great morning with them. So it was I love doing that on Memorial Day. I absolutely love it. So anyone join us next year, we'd love to have y'all. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Mr. Harden?
Well, I'm going to be here a while. Actually, I only want to, again, thank our city employees for all they do for our city. Thank the city council for all you guys do to make this city the great place it is.
All right, thank you. I just want to say congratulations to the Lakeshore Lakers one more time. I don't know if any of y'all have ever actually done a wheelchair basketball game.
The city council.
Did one? Really?
Yes.
And I'm, yeah, yeah, before anyone volunteers for that again. The last time I did one, I was about 15, 16 years old. Our school did it as sort of a thing with Lakeshore. I have never, ever, and they had like, 7, 8 players. We had about 35, and we were exhausted, and they were still going at the end. It is grueling. It's amazing what they can do. So anyway, congratulations to all of them. And with that, we will adjourn and see everyone in a couple weeks.